Hi everyone, Sharon here with Feel Good with Sharon TV. I'm going to try and do take 2 for this video. I wanted to talk to you very briefly about relationships, in particular when you first meet someone. And I'm talking mostly to my younger ladies out there, because in the Bible it tells us, the older women, are to teach the younger ladies. So based on our experiences. So I'm going to talk to you from experience, not from a book or a class, but actual experience. And I want to talk to you about the warning signs so that you don't find yourself in a situation that later on you wish I would have never met that person. And while I'm saying it to the women and the young ladies, this can of course be reversed, because there can be women who act this way towards men, but mostly it's going to be men who do it to women. So what I want to tell you, what I am telling you is, when you first meet someone, everything is, there's hope, like, oh, who knows what's going to happen, right? And men are very men. So they'll tell you what you want to hear. And they'll say, oh, you're so beautiful, or you're gorgeous, or but the thing that will raise the red flag is when they say something like, I'm gonna marry you. I mean, like, in a day or a week. It's like, what? It's like, you don't even know me. I could be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. In fact, sometimes I am. But they say that as though, like, you're going to go, yee-haw! I've been waiting for that. Or they'll say things like, especially if you haven't been married or you're not married, it's kind of like, but I'm going to marry you. Kind of like they just brought the answer. Like, I don't know, like the golden calf or something. I don't know, like some kind of like revelation, like, you've been waiting for this, here it is. And let me just say, gentlemen, young men, older men, we don't want to hear that when we first meet you any more than you want to hear. What if we were to say, I'm going to marry you, or God said you're going to be my husband? I'm sure you've heard that, right? You've heard it, and you run for the hills, don't you? So you don't want to hear it, and neither do we, because after all, you don't even know the person. You have to give the person a minute to show who they are and to tell you who they are, because if you listen, they are going to tell you. So some of the warning signs is someone saying like, oh, I'm going to marry you. Or when you first start dating, they are blowing up your phone like, where are you? And if you say something like, if you're not there together, and what are you wearing? This sort of like so controlling. It's really a controlling spirit. And in the beginning, it may seem like, oh, it's kind of flattering, like, oh, they're so jealous, especially when you're young. And sometimes even when you're not young, because, hey, we all love compliments from our guys, right? But, and I'm not saying every person that says that is controlling, or it's a potential for a nightmare relationship, but I just want you to be aware of some of these warning signs so that you can, something will go, wait a minute, let me check that, don't be so quick. And another one that they'll do, and when I say they, I mean ones that you want to be a little cautious with, is they'll start to talk about sex right away. And like I say, I'm talking from experience. Something like, oh, I'm going to marry you, as though you're doing me a favor. And then you throw in the sex, and it's like, I'm trying to be respectful of you, but then you're talking about sex and you just met me. It's like, that's not being respectful. Just because you use the M word, marriage doesn't give you an okay to just start talking about sex, blatant sex, it's very disrespectful, as a matter of fact. And you have to consider the person you're talking to, obviously, and this is not a universal law for all women, but if I, as a Christian, am and that I'm saying, I say I'm a Christian, and then you start talking to me about fornication, and not that fornication, that's a whole nother show. I don't have any comment. But my point is, no one's innocent in this world, okay? But my point is, don't do that. Don't talk about subjects that are inappropriate with a young lady or an older lady or a woman when you've just met her. It's totally not cool. And so in my instance, in the case that I'm referring to, I thought, whoa, what happened? Did I do something? Did I say something? Why is he talking like that? So I thought, okay, chill, give him a minute, let him self-correct, right? He didn't self-correct. He repeated it. And then when I pointed out, and then he goes, well, I'm not talking about sex. And I thought, whoa. I thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Wait a minute. It's like, yeah, you were and you still are. So anyway, that's too soon in the conversation. It's inappropriate. And can you at least pretend like you're going to respect me and treat me like a lady and not something less than by having that conversation so quickly into me meeting you? So the thing when you get to be my age is men will sometimes say, well, like, we're not children, we're grown, you know, you're a grown woman, I'm a grown man, you know what you want, blah, blah, blah. And what I say to that is, you're right, we're not children. And that is why I don't want you to talk to me that way. I have learned enough, having lived this long, to know and also to respect myself enough to not allow someone else to disrespect me. Do you know what I mean? Because you cannot lump all women into one category. So don't assume based on your past experiences that I am like that person. Or, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they were or were not okay with that type of conversation early into meeting someone, but I'm not. So maybe just like, let me tell you about me. And by the way, that's something else they'll say. Another red flag is they'll say, oh, I just want to get to know you. But then they never ask you anything about you other than, you know, what's your name, what do you do, and where you're from. And that's not really getting to know me, right? So, and they constantly just kind of go on and on and on. And then they'll say, but I want to get to know you. But what they're really saying is, I want to get in your pants. Okay? Your panties, whatever word you want to use. What they're really saying is they just trying to hit it. Okay? And I'm not saying every guy, you know, but the red flags, the warning ones, the one I'm talking about is a warning sign, then that's the case. So, you know, I don't know what's happened in the world where it's okay to just, you know, like, I know back in the 70s and the 80s, you know, people were like very promiscuous, but you had to kind of, growing up, it wasn't that way in my world, because first of all, I had a fear of God and a fear of my mother. So it was like, that was never going to happen. But it's kind of sad when you think about the lack of, you know, like, something's missing from the young ladies' world when there's no courtship, there's no dating, there's no anticipating. It's like the era of the slow dance and, you know, holding hands and the romance of dating and getting to know someone, you know, the time you get to know, you know, like, you're missing out on so much when you skip that and just want to hit it and quit it. Do you know what I mean? There's no place for that in a grown woman's life, you know, like, and I hope it's no place in a young lady's life either. This reminds me of a movie, one of my movies back when I was much younger. I saw this movie and I just loved the movie, even though it's totally inappropriate because it was about someone having an affair. But it's an American girl, young lady, and she goes to Paris. She meets this Parisian man, and you know, she just wants to go out on a date with him. And finally, when they go out on the date, he makes his move, you know, like tries to kiss her or whatever, and then she says, I think she maybe gives him a little kiss or whatever, and then she goes, don't. Or no, she says no or stop, and then she goes, don't. Kind of like, don't even try it. And he gets a little tiffed, you know, he's not really feeling it. He doesn't understand because he knows she wants to go out with him. She's been wanting to date with him. And so he says something to her about being, in other words, trying to say, like, you're a grown-up, act like one. You know what I mean? And she says something that's pretty profound. She says, I'm not a little girl. And if you understand what she means by that, what she's saying is, I feel differently about this subject than a teenager or someone in their, an 18-year-old, whatever, it's like I am a grown woman and I understand the complexities of intimacy, and I know I personally don't want to be in that situation so casually, so you have to see the movie. It's a good movie, but in the end they do end up together, and I know that we shouldn't be rooting for that because she broke up a marriage, but I was rooting for her in the movie, and I know that's not Christian, but hey, I was young. I'm gonna chalk it up to that. Okay, so I'm always trying to get the right angles with this phone. Trying to record yourself can be challenging, and usually I'm too close, like way too close to the camera. And then the other thing is, it's very uncomfortable. Just so you know, I must really like you all because it's like murder on my elbows because I have to get the right lighting on top of the right angles. And I'm not like a cinematographer, photographer, what do you call those, videographers? I'm not a cameraman, although I did take a TV course on television production. But anyway, red flags, look out for them. Don't be so quick. Don't be desperate to be in a relationship that you ignore them. Don't fall for the flattery. Don't get so caught up in the, oh, he's so into me kind of thing. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so gorgeous. And miss the signs of a controlling spirit and someone who may or may not later on be worse than just trying to control you. And I would say to both parties, both male and female, listen to each other. When you say you want to get to know someone, listen to what they have to say. Be inquisitive, ask questions, act like you're interested, or at least pretend or something. I don't know, just don't just say I want to get to know you and really you don't. You just really have another agenda. So and that goes both ways, by the way. Again, with the angles, and I look very greasy too. Don't tell me, because I already know. But I'm too deep into this video to do anything about it because I'm ready to have dinner too. That's the other thing. Man, I must really like you all. So, but I wasn't going to do this video, but it kept pressing on me. And you know how sometimes something can happen to you and you can take it one of two ways. You can allow it to ruin the mood, the moment, the day. Or you can say, you know what, this is a teachable moment. I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it around. And as Christians, as believers, we say what Satan meant for evil, God will take it, turn it around and use it for good. Well, you can do the same thing every day. If someone says something or does something and it seems to like, you start to get in a bad mood about it, or in this case, if it's a relationship and you start to think, well, what did I do? Because it's so easy when you're in that kind of a relationship, you will feel guilty. You really will. You'll start to feel like you're doing something wrong. And that's part of the manipulation. It's like, you're not doing anything wrong, dear. That's on them. But it happens and you don't even realize it's happening. It's like all of a sudden you're apologizing all the time and you're trying to avoid stepping on their toes, and it's like walking on eggshells, and it's a red flag. Warning, get out now. And the last thing I want to mention to you is about, I'll call it the disappearing act. Did you see that movie, Disappearing Acts, with Wesley Snipes and Sanaa Lathan? If you didn't, check it out. Where when you're in this relationship with this person and all of a sudden they just disappear. It's like, who does that? What is going on? What is going on in this world? It's like, who does that? It's like, you think it's over and then all of a sudden they come back like nothing's happened. Like, wait a minute. This is not the 70s. This is not the song about, it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm just getting in. A voice sweet and low says, who is it? She opens up the door and let me in. Never once does she say, where have you been? She said, are you hungry? Did you eat? No, we're not going to say that. We're going to be like, where have you been? I mean, what in the world's going on? You've been gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and you said nothing and you think this is still a relationship? It's like, who Who does that? Why would you do that? Why would you think? It's like the person's worried about you. They're wondering, are you alive? Like, what happened to this? I don't know. I don't know who came up with that idea that just disappearing would be a great motivator. Maybe they think it's absence make the heart grow fonder. No, it doesn't. I just think it's selfish and self-centered, and that's not the way to be in a relationship with someone, because that person, if they care about you, then they're concerned about you and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're thinking, did they do something wrong, even though they know they didn't? And it's another form of that control, that manipulation, and someone not getting their way, and they throw a temper tantrum and you don't go along with it, then they disappear. It's like, I guess you're gonna have to take a page from Good Times and JJ. Okay, I know you all know what I'm talking about if you're black. when their neighbor brought the meatloaf, remember they thought she was eating dog food? And that's not funny, but this episode of Good Times is very funny because Florida and them invites her over for chicken, and she goes, well, she shows up with the meatloaf. Do you remember that? And so she's like, well, if you all don't eat the meatloaf, like, if we're not having the meatloaf, I'm not going to stay. So basically it's like, you all have the meatloaf or I'm going to leave. And JJ goes, bye. Okay, it's way funnier than I'm telling it, but it was like, he's like, we're not eating that dog food meatloaf. Okay, so now you know I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when I laugh at that. But I'm telling you, it's still funny today, and that, you know, Good Times is way back in the day. But Good Times, feel good with sharing, connection. Yes? No? Lighten up, people. Life is meant to be about having fun too. You know, you have to laugh in order to feel good, you know, and laughter's good like medicine. At least that's what I was told and taught. So, yeah, bye. When they start doing the disappearing acts, take a line from JJ and do the bye thing. So, you know, don't play that game. If they do it one time, maybe you can give them a pass. But if they do a repeat offender, become a repeat offender, it's like, I'm out of here. Because I'm not going to be wondering and waiting and like, you know, I'm waiting for my knight to return and rescue me. No, either you respond or move on. Okay, don't do disappearing acts. No one deserves that. If we care about you, we really are worried about you. We're concerned. We're like, oh my God, should I be like putting out a search party or something? It's like, I don't even understand that thinking. It's like, but anyway, that's a warning sign. Warning, warning, because they're going to do it again and again and again and again. And anytime you don't conform, they'll probably do it again. And when I say conform, meaning to whatever they tell you, because it's that dictatorship controlling spirit. That's not the kind of relationship you want to be in. You want to be in a relationship that is mutually respectful, where it's give and take, and everyone in the relationship. I mean, the two of you, it's not like it's a crowd of people, but, you know, like you both are respecting the other person and honoring them and listening to them and showing up and not going on these disappearing acts. I mean, it's that's what happened in the movie. It's like Wesley Snipes just like disappeared. It's like, but then he was out there like watching her. So, of course, in the end, it all worked out. But that's a movie, and this is real life. And I'm telling you, watch out for the disappearing acts. And I know the camera's roaming. And I was supposed to wrap this up a minute ago, so I'm going to go eat some barbecue. Why? Because I'm from the South. Because I love barbecue. And because I'm really hungry, like right now. So I'm going to have some feel-good barbecue. No, I did not make it. I purchased it. But I put my own sauce on it and put it in, you know, the oven to warm up. And I'm going to have that with some baked beans and potato salad. Because that's how we roll down here in the South. We like to get down when we eat. Get down on it. That's what we're going to get down on. Some food. So anyway, I hope these tips help you, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, by the way, my hair is blue. Can you tell? Yep, it's blue. I don't know if you can see that. See, now you can see it. Someone asked, is your hair blue? It's the weirdest thing. I get more compliments on this hair color than, where's the camera? I get more compliments on this hair color than any other hair color ever. And I'm all about changing hair. I love big hair. I'm an 80s girl. And the 70s music, 80s hair, and today's fashion. So I don't want that fashion from back then. But yeah, 70s music, 80s hair, big hair. Big earrings. I like big earrings too. I do. And I hope anything I said tonight helps. I hope whatever I said tonight helps you in some way, seriously. And it's not meant to offend anyone or get in anyone's business or cross any lines. I just want us all to respect each other and give each other the freedom to be ourselves. And did I say that the woman is the prize? Oh, I don't know if I did, but let me just say that. There seems to be some kind of confusion out there as to who's the prize in the package. So let's clear that up. Don't get it twisted. The woman is always the prize. Always. The lady, the woman, the girl, she's always the prize. And the guy, the gentleman, the man, is the beneficiary, the winner of the prize. So you're very fortunate because you get to get the prize. But you're not the prize, okay? How can the guy be a prize? That just doesn't... It's the whole kind of male-female thing is what I'm talking about. It just doesn't go like he's the prize. It's like, no, you get the prize, you know. And you can also win us prizes at Six Flags or at the amusement park because we like that. Okay. So, but yes. So there's no more confusion on this subject. Let's wrap it up with the woman is always the prize. Monogamy is sexy. Anticipation is priceless. Holding hands and slow dancing and taking your time needs to come back. It's so, you have no idea what you're missing out on, young ladies. And the whole hit it and quit it thing, who does that? That's like, oh my gosh. No, don't do that. Respect yourself enough and respect each other enough to get to know each other and put all that stuff on hold. And when someone is trying to tell you about themselves, listen and don't try to stifle their voice because, oh my God, nothing is worse than someone just like telling you to be quiet. Like you have nothing to say, like you have no voice. It's like I've lived all these years and now I have no voice because of you. I don't think so. So let the person be themselves. Let them be free. I mean, even God gives us free will. And in America, freedom, priceless. The relationship, freedom, you have to have it. Yes, you make sacrifices for each other. Yes, you give and take, but don't shut me down like that. I have something to say. Are you going to listen to me? Because if you're not, then you can go your own way. I think we have to listen to each other more. That's the other thing. You have to listen. And when someone is telling you something, really listen, because they're opening up their soul to you, and then you go, oh, just be quiet, oh girl. And not the all girl like the Ohio Players, oh girl, you know how they sing, which I love the Ohio Players, but it's not like that. It's like, I'm just, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's a huge turnoff to women. So don't ask us to be quiet and just shut up. There are times when we do need to watch it though, girls. Okay, sometimes we need to back it up and not wobble baby, back it up. I mean, we need to like be quiet, but not in a way where someone is like being condescending or telling you like you have no voice. Don't do that. And don't say things like when you first meet someone, hey guys, don't say this to women. I'm gonna marry you. I'm gonna make you my wife. Yeehaw, we've been waiting for you. We're not, okay? And get to know the person. You may not even want to marry that person. You can't just go on what someone looks like either. I understand the physical attraction thing. You have to be attracted to someone. I get that. Sometimes though, you become attractive. The person becomes more attractive after you get to know them. And you see them in a different light. That is true. And I know women, we're more likely to do that with men than men are to do it with us. But it's not just, I mean, the person can be beautiful, but they can be not the kind of person you want to be around. Selfish, self-centered, rude. You just like not the kind of person you want to be in a relationship with. So you can't just go on what someone looks like. And remember, if they're, when it comes to that kind of talking about sex and giving it up, if they do it with you, they probably will with a lot of other people too. So you might want to think about that. Now, if it's some kind of a test, which I'm sure it's not, then that's one thing. Don't test me. You know your mothers used to say that, right? Don't test me. So don't test us. Usually it's not a test. It's like they're just trying to see if they can get some. So, but don't do that, because who wants that? It's like, and if you're doing it with, if she's doing it with you, she's doing it with everybody else. But also, if you're doing it with her, you're doing it with everyone else too. And you want us to be pure and all that stuff. And we want the same. Okay? We're not talking extremisms, but I mean, you know what I mean. So, I hope this helps. Hope I didn't offend anyone. If I did, I'm sorry. Wasn't meant to be that way. Don't get any of it twisted. But remember, the most important thing is the woman is the prize. Don't say I'm going to marry you when you first meet. Don't talk about sex on the first phone call. And don't do the disappearing acts. Oh my God, don't do that. And if we say no, we mean no. Back it up. Don't. Okay? And of course, listen to each other, respect each other, honor each other, support each other, love each other, cherish each other. You know, we've only just begun. Okay. I told you I couldn't sing. So I hope this helps. Again, not meant to offend, but just to enlighten and to hopefully help us to avoid mistakes, help you to avoid the mistakes, that I've already made in life. And I don't know what kind of visual this is going to be, just so you know, because it's like my elbows are here and up and down and all around and the camera's moving, and maybe just listen and don't look. And also, you know, I could go for some like lemonade, my famous lemonade right about now. So, because like I say, the blood sugar is probably low. Okay, so I'm gonna go, y'all. Y'all, that's my southern voice. My southern voice. I only have one voice. Sometimes I'll throw in these accents, but I only have one voice, so. But I really do hope this helps you. I hope you'll tune in again for another subject that I'll be tackling, because I'm going to tackle everything. I'm going to talk from experience, from, I mean, this type of thing, like relationships and having made wrong choices, to, are you still fat? Are you on another diet? That's going to be another one I'm coming up with, because I have a new movement I'm going to start. It's called Stop Dieting. And because I've been on and off of diets for I don't even know how many years. And the weird thing about diets is I would be on and off the diets, and I was the only one that was still fat. And all of my sisters and other people, they're not on the diets and they're not fat. It's like something wrong with that picture, Sharon. So anyway, tune in for another subject. I don't know what the next one will be. I kind of go with what my instincts, you know, like the unction of the Lord, or, you know, you just kind of feel led to do something, and then you do a show on that subject. So I don't know what the next one will be or when it will be, but whenever it comes, I hope it'll be a help to you, and I hope it'll help you to live a better life. Excuse me. I hope it'll help you to live good, to look good, and to feel good, of course. You know, I did that beauty show earlier. That is not my thing. So tune in again, you all, my friends out there, for another show of Feel Good with Sharon TV. My hair looks kind of purple here, but it's really blue, just so you know. For those of you who ask, those of you who don't care, say I don't care. But it's blue. It's sapphire, by the way, in case you're wondering. I told you I like big hair, because I'm a big hair 80s girl. I love the 80s and the 70s and today. So I'll see you again next time on, I'm Sharon, by the way, and this is Feel Good with Sharon TV. So like the video if you like it, subscribe and share with your family, friends, and followers, and I'll see you next time on Feel Good with Sharon TV. Have a great weekend.